All right, cool.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Yay.
All right, good morning. I have 10:01 a.m. I'd like to call to order the emergency meeting or special meeting of the Lee County Board of County Commissioners. It's May 26, 2023. Let's begin this meeting by standing for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. I'd like to recognize our county manager at this time to introduce the purpose of this meeting and the item that we have for consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Today, we're asking you to reallocate American Rescue Plan Act grant funds, and I'll ask Mr. Sellier to make the presentation.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. We are recommending a reallocation of ARPA funds as a precautionary measure in the face of the debt ceiling negotiations underway in Washington, D.C. By that, I mean we've been advised that there is a very strong likelihood that there will be a federal clawback of some of these funds. We simply don't know what form that will take. Our position would be that we have a subrecipient agreement with the United States Treasury. The Treasury has sent us these funds. We have programmed them per ARPA rules according to their schedule, and those should be safe. And while that's all logical, what we've heard from Capitol Hill is that wouldn't leave anything to claw back, so don't count on that being the final negotiated deal. So just to be safe, we are recommending that we reallocate the funds there before you from projects that are currently in progress or don't yet have contracts to eligible expenditures that can be immediately obligated. And the bottom line is this would help us preserve budget capacity to do some of the very same projects that we originally intended to do. I hope that makes sense, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Very good. Commissioners, any questions on the item for us? Commissioner Pendergrass?
Real quick. Glenn, thank you. I had a conversation with the Salvation Army. Can you go over how their funding is not being cut based upon this action?
Yes, sir.
How it's being reallocated?
Yes, sir. There is no recommended reallocation of funds to the United Way. We have a subrecipient agreement in place with them. They have the funds. You allocated them $465,000 for food distribution. That remains intact. There's no recommended change to that program.
Okay. And also the mobile vaccines, that's for normal vaccines for children, has nothing to do with COVID or any other issues, right? The mobile vaccines? 138,000?
That did have some COVID vaccinations in it during the height of the pandemic in the early days. That program has concluded some time ago. These are the leftover funds from that allocation.
So we're not going to be using it for that in the future, for that type of use again?
No, that it would not be reprogrammed for that. It would more likely fall into, say, the Fort Myers Beach Water Reclamation Facility project, something of that order.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And then if I may, one other thing I do want to point out is we were intending to bring you on June 6th a new allocation for the Center for Progress and Excellence to operate the Bob Janes Empowerment Center. The county has long supported that operation with lots of funding. They are experiencing the same escalating operating cost increases as everyone else, and so that is one of the allocations that is $1 million for the Bob Janes Empowerment Center.
Any other questions then, Commissioners? All right, seeing no further questions at this time, I'd like to open the floor for public comment to anybody who's come today who would like to speak in public comment. Are there any speakers? Okay, I see no public comment, so we'll close public comment. Back to the board. Does somebody wish to make a motion on the item?
I'll move the item.
Okay. Motion for approving the staff recommendation of approval from Commissioner Ruane, and the seconds from Commissioner Sandelli. Do we have any further discussion? Commissioner Pendergrass.
Glenn, you were mentioning that in future negotiations with D.C. and the Capitol, I know we cannot predict what's going to happen there. Obviously, it's unfortunate what happened and how this is going to affect our community. And obviously, the promises made in the past were kept, but now they're not being kept. So you'll be keeping us updated, correct, if there is any changes?
Yes, sir, we will. Right now, the speculation is they're trying to finish a deal today so that they can provide members, mainly on the House side, with the 72-hour review period that is part of their typical process, and that would allow them then to vote on the deal on Tuesday. Whether that materializes or not is hard to say, but that's the speculation right now.
Another example of irresponsibility from DC, and hopefully our county and our residents don't suffer too much from it. So thank you.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Sandelli?
Just one more thing. As we take all this information and try to communicate it within our constituency, we're obviously protecting capacity to go forward on things that we've already obligated. And so the trimming has to come in part once we have some clarification. And we'll have to continue, there'll be work in progress. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, and as
Okay.
soon as we understand what the ultimate deal looks like and how it might impact
Great.
these funds, we will update
Great.
the board.
Thank you for the work.
Any further discussion or questions? All right, seeing no further discussion, are there any objections to the motion on the floor? I see no objections. That motion carries unanimously. Is there any further business before us today, Mr. County Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nothing further today.
All right, seeing no further business, we're adjourned.